This is basically something I have been wanting to see also for quite a long time. It's like a lot of the stuff in entertainment for me personally has been getting answered, and wishes that I have been wanting to see has been being fulfilled. You have things like Genshin, where I wanted a game where it's like anime style that's open world. Genshin fulfilled that request. Then you have, ecchi anime coming through where they have like a lot of craziness but also tells a consistent story, which Nukitashi's been doing. And now we're about to really see more games come through where they basically showcase and more anime and open worldness, but in a cityscape. And now that's like neverness to everness in Ananta, and more so today for Ananta, because we end up getting to see what this game actually is going to be like, how it's going to be played, and all that sort of stuff, as well as other pieces of information that I'm here for. I am hooked on it. I am very much ready for it, like a simp is to the waifu and a hobo is to cardboard. You already know what time it is. So when it comes down to it though, let's just be real. This game copies a lot of other shit from other games. Basically, it's like anime does everything but better. Like, that's what it feels like, right? You got the web swinging like Spider-Man. You got the sneaking and skulking around like Batman. You got basically, like a lot of different characters being on weird type of timing, like they're Crackman. It's just a lot that they're copying. Like, the fighting looks like it's from Sleeping Dogs. That kick-ass game that Square Enix only made one copy of, which is a damn shame because there should have been a Sleeping Dogs 2, and it looked like it's gonna come through in this shape and form, which I am super here for. And overall, if people calling like different anime games like the GTA game, this right here is the GTA game for sure, right? Because obviously so much is happening, so much is just popping off, and I don't even know where to begin. I don't even know what actually even is the story of this game, but it's just making me want to go ahead, jump in, and just be very much appealing towards what is going to happen, or basically getting involved in this world in some shape or form. It just has me hyped up. They really dropped this shit last night, and I'm just like, excuse you? You want to drop this shit tonight? I wasn't ready. I was in the bed. It was crazy. But ultimately though, it just makes me more hyped up just to see where this damn project is going to go. But that also brings up another interesting point about all this, which I'm not going to sit here and lie. Makes me wonder, how real is this game? How real is this game actually is, right? Are we actually going to go ahead and beat people's asses? Are we really going to actually be able to arrest NPCs just because? Or is that just like a story thing or whatever? It is like a lot of the crazy ass actions that happen. Is that really going to be consistent in this game? Or is that just going to be stuff they're just showcasing just because they can, right? And that's just how it is. You got to look, especially nowadays, you got to look at a lot of these games with a grain of salt, even though they're showcasing, obviously what they want to do, and the animation is obviously there, but then it's also at the same time like, all right, so what is actually being promoted here? What is this? What actually is being true? I would imagine that a lot of it is pretty much true, right? And not just trailer filler or filters or whatever that they like to chuck on just for trailers and that's it. And considering that Sony has been consistent as well, PlayStation more so has been consistent with showing off the game and promoting it when a trailer comes out, I would imagine they have a hand in this. I would imagine they have a hand in what Ananta is doing, which is why when it comes down to a lot of the copying of different games, I think Sony might have a backing into Ananta to hopefully make it a really good contender for something like a GTA or something like that, however it will go down, because easily there's a lot of different elements from different games that obviously gets pulled over from their original game to Ananta. Obviously something like the biggest thing will be like the web swinging that characters can obviously do easily. I'm pretty sure PlayStation and Sony as a whole would have an issue with Ananta, especially doing what they do and tell them to pretty much chill out and just get them to stop. I'm pretty sure they would have an issue and they wouldn't necessarily promote it. So I assume things are fine behind the scenes. I would assume so. That they're working with them in some shape and form. I wouldn't be surprised if devs from those Spider-Man games come through and just like, hey, can you help out with the web swinging over here? Thanks a lot, and just have it that way. Because again, this is a game that PlayStation is very much actively promoting. And sure, you can very much say there's a lot of games on PlayStation that they, don't necessarily promote and that just dare. And sure, there's a lot of wild and raunchy games that is definitely there, or just shitty games that is just not good. But at the same time, they are promoting this one. So I'm assuming and would be convinced that they are aware of what this game is trying to do and what type of steps it's trying to make in terms of what it's wanting to go for, So that's just how it is on that. Right? So I don't think there should be, I would like to hope and pray that there isn't going to be any issues regarding like, mechanics and stuff like that too. Right? Like, as long as they don't throw no damn balls and summon enemies like that, I'm pretty sure they'll be fine. Right? I would assume so. But this shit really is like a damn contender to GTA, right? It's crazy how this is in development and GTA 6 is actually in development for next year. And it's like, wait, and it makes me wonder too, where the hell are they planning to drop this game? When do they plan on dropping this thing? Because surely it can't be just next year. I want it next year, but surely it can't just be next year, right? Not with GTA also coming out, right? Granted, Ananta's gonna be a free game to play, but like surely they won't drop it all at once, right? Because that's a bold ass move. That's a bold ass move to try to do, right? But who really knows? I wouldn't really be surprised if they did that. But that's a bold ass move to do. Granted, it's 10 million people that's already pre-registered for it too. So, maybe they have a shot. But still, that's a bold ass move to do. And speaking of those differences between something like a GTA and Ananta, let's talk about the main selling point of the game, or at least the main point that people have been, very much yapping about, which is this is a gacha game with no gacha. So to be honest, this isn't even a gacha game. I don't even know what the hell game this is at this point. Because basically what they were saying in an interview by Famitsu is that basically you're going to be able to get every character in the game just by solely playing the game. Which has also been a trend for recent games that has been coming out, or at least has been announced, honestly. Neverness has been getting rid of like their 50-50 system. You're still gonna have to, obviously play the game and do something with it, but still no 50-50 exists. Then you get, Duet in Night Abyss. I think that's the name of the game. And essentially, they don't necessarily have a gacha at all. You just get characters just by solely playing the game. Which very much showcases the tiredness that Japanese people have with these sort of games. Because easily, you could very much point out that the decline of gacha games in Japan has been going very much at an all-time low. And people don't really have the drive to want to go play them for whatever reason. I'm not necessarily too sure. But ultimately though, it has been a strain on Japan, and I would assume a lot of Eastern places where they just don't care to play true gacha games anymore. And that's why you're seeing like new games come out, at least in this sort of genre, to come out and basically kind of just do anything but gacha at this point. And it does make you wonder, is this going to affect things like Genshin and what Hoyo does, and things of Kuro Games and stuff like that with Wuthering Waves? And probably not, because like they have their audience already. They're not going to just falter like that. As long as the games still keep going good and they still keep doing what they're going to do with them, I don't think they're going to falter that hard unless something dramatic happens. But I don't think they're going to falter that hard when it comes down to it, or really at all when it comes down to it. Like, Hoyoverse is going to be fine. I'm pretty sure Kuro Games, as long as they keep up what they do, they're going to be also fine. So I don't really see them dropping like a gacha mechanic at all, right? Maybe future projects they probably won't include it, right? Probably figure out a different way to monetize things, which Ananta's also going to monetize their way by obviously customizations, by maybe by cars, maybe, and potentially clothes and stuff like that. So that's where the money part of it comes in, which makes me wonder how free to play friendly is Ananta going to be. Can I just play the game, get money through the game, and then just buy some of the cool stuff in there? Or do I really need to invest, money to play this game in order for me to kind of just have the full experience of it, right? I'm kind of curious about how they're going to go about that, because there's definitely a big red flag kind of going around really going about how egregious this game could potentially be with their monetization of customization and stuff like that. Which also, to give a quick mention to the customization, I like the fact that you can give any character any piece of clothing, basically, right? They all look mad good, not gonna sit here and lie. Makes me wonder if you could just, put some skimpy on a lolly real quick, just to see how it goes if they drop a skimpy skin. I'm just curious. I'm just saying out of curiosity, totally not gonna try that. Just totally not gonna try that. But when it comes down to it, though, hopefully it's just not necessarily egregious, or they try to charge you for literally every piece of item that you wear on your character or anything like that. Hopefully it just won't be like that. And I guess the last thing I could say about this game, and this is more so for me personally, right, is that I'm kind of wondering, what game do I basically drop for this game, right? Because ultimately, for me, there is 4 different gacha games that I am like seeing in existence that I want to continue playing, or you just straight up play, right? Because obviously Genshin is just a mainstay for me. That's not going anywhere. I'm going to watch that story to the very end and see where it actually ends up. Then once we get past the Conria arc, then we'll debate if we want to keep going with the game or not. And that's just how it is, right? So ultimately, I still want to stay on that Genshin train, especially with them being in the current patch that they are in, and how everything is kind of been going really damn cool, and Columbina is literally right there at the cusp of coming home to me. So, kind of want to stay on that Genshin train until the wheels fall off, basically. That's just how I feel. Zenless, on the other hand, it's looking like the one that might be on the chopping block. And I love Zenless, though, right? I love its characters. I think these characters are amazing. I think they're quite peak. And honestly, they have me just driven to keep playing the game solely for the characters and the personalities and the animations that they give all of them. But ultimately, it does look like it's on the chopping block, because the other 3 games as contenders that will probably take up my attention in the future will be, 1, Neverness to Everness, because it's basically Genshin but in a city sort of environment, which is great, and I'm very much looking forward to playing that, and that probably is gonna, I would imagine, come out a little bit more quicker than Ananta will, so of course I want to try that, and that's just how it is. Then obviously Ananta itself, I mean, just look at the game playing in the background, I don't think you really need any sort of 5 seconds to realize, oh, why would anyone want to play this game? Because it looks wacky, crazy, have the most wildest shit in there, and possibly one of the craziest thing an anime game could possibly do and have done. This is totally going to get an anime, if it's being successful and stuff like that, and if the devs don't be on their high asses and stuff like that, like, Infinite Nikki devs or whatever and stuff like that, it's going to be a great time. It's going to be a great time if everything falls into place where it needs to. So of course I'm hyped for Ananta. But then the only other game that I'm really hyped for in the gacha department is Silver Palace, because of how brutal these anime women beat the hell out of these these different enemies, and how the environment kind of looks and stuff like that too, like this old ass London setting but with anime characters kind of walking around and whatever, and it looks mad good too, right? So that's truthfully, minus ZZZ, 4 gacha games I'm very much interested to continue playing or want to play at some point in time when they come out, and that's just how it is for me, right? And ultimately, yeah, it kind of feels like ZZZ might get the boot. Honestly, I don't want to boot ZZZ, but the only reason why I would be fine with doing so is because I'm not drawn into the overall story, right? Character stories are fine. I think some character stories are great. You think Anbi's story wasn't, bad, or, you think it was bad or something like that with, Silver Squad Anbi? That shit was amazing with Twiggy and everything like that. I still got the recording of that damn quest line at the end because it was that good, right? I do think things like the whole thing with Orphe and Magnus, or Magus I should say, that happened recently with this current update, I didn't think I was going to care, and yet it kind of made me care for the characters a bit more, and that was really damn cool, right? And then you have obviously things like the Sons of Caledon and that whole fiasco, how cool that shit was. That was peak as hell. That was what made me care about ZZZ. So to keep very much stacked, I'm not going to be, thrilled about giving up ZZZ and playing the game and not pulling for characters and stuff like that for that game. However, though, with the contenders kind of being there, and if they can hold their own to keep my attention to wanting to play, as much as I love ZZZ, I would honestly give it up just so I can play the other games, because they look mad fun and look mad good. So that's just how it is on that front. But ultimately, though, it's just it's some things you gotta let go. Some things you gotta definitely consider to let go. what games you want to really think about to add on to your collection that you want to play, and really see how it all kind of goes. Again, each of these games could very much fall off and be shit or whatever, but ultimately where my brain kind of is, that's kind of where my, mindset is when it comes down to a lot of this stuff. But ultimately though, Ananta is very much looking like a good ass game that I am very hyped up to play. It is very much something that has me intrigued since the first time we ever really got to see it. And to keep it very much a stat, I really, really hope they do a good job on this. I really hope it actually catches on, and I really, really hope that, no patents, no suing, no, weird shit goes through that could potentially ruin this game from coming out. I really hope they just go ham and let it exist and do what it needs to do. I really hope that be the case, and just let them cook on that, and that just kind of be what it is, honestly. I'd be more than happy to see, Ananta just existing and being an alternative to GTA for anime fans and just people in general that maybe don't want to go down the GTA, realistic rabbit hole all the damn time. GTA can be fine and fun, but we don't necessarily know where the future is going to go, especially with how much a lot of stuff been effing up in the western side of the world and how they've been kind of viewing characters and how characters kind of act and stuff like that too. And if GTA kind of falls in that unfortunate pits of despair, which is its modern sensibilities, then yeah, it might not be a good time for GTA. But then you got something like Ananta that don't give a shit about something like that, which I would be super here for, and a lot of these gacha games will be here for it as well. But that's really all I want to say for this one. So hopefully you did enjoy. Let me know in the comments, are you really hyped up for Ananta, or are you going to really try it out when it comes through? Because I'm sure as hell going to try it out when it comes through. And honestly, just hope again it just turns out to be a really kick-ass game to kind of consistently kick back to play. But honestly, that's really all I want to say for this one. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on your way out. Also follow the socials, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And until next, boy Jay, sign off. Have a blessed day.